Nope, I'm alive. Hello, peoples. Well, thank you very much for tuning in. I appreciate it. Um, yeah. So, So if anybody who's interested, I just wanted to let you know about some updates, recent updates, or at least the updates that I can report on with dealing with some of the things that I've been working on. Um, so yeah. Apparently I am working on book 3. So for those who have not seen any of these updates, this is like my third update on some of the book series that I've stumbled into. So yeah. Wait. Here. We need music. Hang on a second. Let's pull that up. Here we go. Let's do that. Let's see what we got going on here. That way you can have some music playing in the background. See if that works. Anyway, this is I've also been working on songs because apparently I'm not busy enough. So, if you haven't read book 2, there is a character in there called Eve, the first story, and in book 2. There's a little bit of a kind of like an oral traditional story. It's about Eve, sometimes called Eve the first story, Eve the first hero, and you can kind of get the idea of where I'm talking about, about this. Anyway, so I decided to write a little bit more of a lyrical thing about it. Now I'm not a singer. I'm musically I am about as a musical as a turnip, mind you. So I got the idea from I forget her name now, but apparently she signed some sort of record deal just based on her AI generated content alone, which I'm sure has really ticked off a few musicians out there. So I'm not judging. I mean, it's fine. It's fine. I'm sure lots of people out there have used or are working really hard on their own stuff, and I've got a few friends on Facebook who are, who write their own stuff and do things. But but I am not a musician by any stretch of the imagination. So I decided to try it out with the lyrics that I wrote and see how it sounded, and it sounded pretty cool. So eventually, probably one day, there's going to probably be an album with real people singing it, and who then can tell me, yeah, this doesn't work as a song. You're going to have to rewrite some of this stuff. So there we go. But if anybody gets interested, I experimented with it with a poem that I wrote years ago, and then a song that I wrote about. It's called "The Queen in the Moment," and so. But I've been experimenting with other versions of it. I sent some to a friend of mine out there in the Facebook land. He said some of it sounds pretty cool. I don't know, because again, I'm not a musician, so I don't know how well it actually sounds. I mean, it sounds good to me, but who knows? Again, I've written the lyrics, and as far as it goes, and I tried to make it sound like a storyteller telling a song. So, or a storyteller putting stuff to music. And again, this is Swoono basically saying these things. So again, I thought it'd be kind of cool. So if anybody's interested in that, just let me know, and I can always send you a link for that if you're interested in that type of stuff. You want to listen to some of that stuff. It's just something I thought would be kind of fun to do. Anyway, it helped me come up with ideas for additional storylines for book 3. So there you go. I'm not planning on publishing these as they are. I'm kind of thinking of them as like little demos, little things about the little inspirations about the book. So things like that. I have used one or two of them to help me put like a theme song and tracking behind some of the videos and trailers that I've released that for the books and stuff like that. So yeah. But for those who are interested, I have released or written down, and when it comes to book 3, it's for those who like who like things about like this stuff. I've written about 14,648 words, and the additional part is I've written 5,734 words. So though that 5,734 words is shit, that's not going in the book. But the 14,640 words are actually in the book right now. They may not make it. So that's where that is. So there you go. I'm still working on the narration for book 2 because I've decided that book 1 and book 2 need to be released as one narrated book, one audio book. Because it just doesn't seem right to be released as one and then do another. Now, you might be thinking, oh, that's just silly, Don. Why not do one? I don't know. But then again, I also thought The Lost Tale of Emerson K needs to be also released. So it might be like kind of like an omnibus audiobook where it all gets released at once. I've timed it out. So that's roughly about 18 hours worth of audiobook altogether. First book is like about 7.5 hours. The other is about 9-ish hours. Maybe 10 hours, I think. And the other one's about an hour and some change. So, I'm thinking, I got about 20-ish hours right there. So I think that's probably what's going to end up happening. Be about 20 hours of that type of stuff. So yeah, and I think so far it's going to be like a rough version of me doing the audiobook at this point until I can find a narrator that sounds pretty decent overall. So yeah, but yeah, that's where it's at. I'll go and keep working on book 3. I think book 3 is going to be might be the bigger book. It might end up being about 90,000 words. There's a lot of stuff to dig through. There's a lot of things that I left you guys hanging at the end of book 2. So I'm going to try to do that. It might get split into 2 books. Just because there's a lot. I keep coming up with stuff. So maybe book 2. So I'm not, and I'm still working on the ending of it. I'm not sure. I still think everything should be we should all burn it all down, but we'll see. Maybe I should kill off a few characters. What do you guys think? Somebody says says that that's a good idea. Maybe I should take a vote. See who gets to go. No, I'm not doing that. Anyway, but all kidding aside, I've been enjoying the process. It's been a lot of fun. It's been an interesting process, to say the least, and it's been interesting to hear my son's reaction to all this stuff, and I never really thought I would be actually doing something remotely anything like this. For those who are keeping count at this point, at this in my the thing, I think I'm up to 60 books that I've sold. Let's pull it up. How many books has Donovan sold at this particular point? Current count at this day. Let's see. I've sold including the free books that I gave away, I've sold 65 books. So that's not too bad, I thought. I'm doing better than what most self-publishers do. But that's not too bad. And that's outside the friends and family loop, so that's even better. So that's kind of cool. Yeah. Yeah, so that's cool. It means it's getting outside, that reach. So that's kind of cool. So if you guys are interested in keeping track of what I'm doing with the releases, you can always go to the Facebook page of the Underverse Chronicles. I'm really trying to keep most of that stuff there on that page. If I really want to get more traction on that type of stuff, that's where I really want to keep most of that, because it's kind of like a signpost for it. It's that whole thing about social media and things. If I want to get a literary agent or an actual publishing house interested in the story, it does help that I can prove that I have some sort of people who like the story, or at least follow the story, or do something about the story. So that's always helpful if I can get stuff like that on there. Again, I know it's it's something that if you guys are interested in doing stuff like that's helpful. You don't have to, but again, it's just something that's useful, that helps me out down the road, and it doesn't cost a thing, so that's useful. Anybody who's interested in helping me out, you can always help me out by just buying a book off of Amazon, or download an audiobook, a digital copy. Digital copies are like $10. You can buy them off of Amazon. Yeah. If you have issues with any of this stuff, just let me know. I'll be glad. Just message me and let me know, and I'll be glad to see what I can do about it. So yeah. But I can't thank you all very much. I can't thank you guys enough for just listening to me ramble about this stuff and paying attention to it. And yeah, it's been a lot of fun. People who have not read the book, this is really cool that I've written a book. I didn't realize that writing a book was that awesome. So, and people who haven't read the book are saying that. So I think that's pretty cool. So I hope they enjoyed it once they've read it. But yeah. So again, I've sent some more signed copies out, and some of those signed copies have already gotten a couple of these things out here. So yeah. So if you guys who want signed copies while I still have them are getting basically 11 by 14 prints that I want, because I've got those. And just to show you, I've got some more more books to sign here and to hand out that I have in my possession. So if you guys are interested in that, I've got some hard copies left, and I've also got a bunch of paperbacks. So yeah, if you guys are interested in that type of stuff, let me know. Yeah. Again, thank you guys very much for the support and for your help, and for all the shenanigans that I've been doing on Facebook lately about this stuff. Again, it really means a lot, and I hope you guys stick around for some more of it. So, thanks, and I hope you guys have a great day. Oh, and happy Easter, and I hope everyone's enjoying their Passover. And if I've forgotten any other holidays out there, I'm sorry, but those are the two I remember. So, anyway, sorry. Again, thanks a lot. And James, if you're listening, I'm proud of you.